YouTube family, what is going on, everybody? All right, just wanted to make a little video about this whole new levels, new devils concept. So any of you guys that have been on this path, semen retention path, the straight and narrow path, the path of self-development, you have encountered this. If you've been on this path for any length of time, you've encountered this phenomena, I'm sure. It's almost like a mathematical equation. It's like when you really, really do start to level up in life as an individual, there are always going to be new forms of resistance that really, it's like, I always think about climbing Mount Everest is like a really good analogy for this, you guys. It's like the higher you get on that mountain, the higher the stakes get, you know, and the more conditioned you have to be, right? You know, people, if you ever watched several documentaries about Everest and people that climb it and, you know, some of the crazy stuff that's happened up there. One of the things that I learned watching these documentaries was, you know, people that do this have to train very seriously to be able to withstand that altitude. And the higher they get, you know, they have these different base camps at different levels, and you have to kind of camp out there and give your body a chance to acclimate to that altitude so that you can continue ascending. And as you continue ascending, there's less and less oxygen. It's colder, it's more dangerous. You know, the strong winds can come in, things get very unpredictable. So it's like, it's a good analogy for this like spiritual journey that we're on, is as you ascend, you have to be stronger and stronger to withstand these new altitudes that you're reaching. And each new altitude is going to come with like a new level of difficulty that may have killed you had you not prepared. You know, like if you skipped steps, like if you took a helicopter, you know, from Nepal all the way up to the highest base camp, and you had never trained for this or this altitude, and they just dropped you there, you might die. You know, that's how serious it gets, you know, at altitudes like that. And so this spiritual ascension that we make is similar. So obviously you guys, you wouldn't subscribe to my channel if you weren't hip to the power of semen retention, the power of cultivating your sexual life force energy, which is your real true essence as an individual. This is why when you refrain from spilling that seed in the context of, you know, corn, fantasy, a relationship, whatever the case is, the more of that comes out of your physical body, that physical substance. Everything that's physical is energy. At core, it's all matter is made of energy. So that matter that comes out of you is energy also. And that energy, if it were to stay in you, would animate you and make you more charismatic and more confident and more clear and more focused and more energetic and more vital and more youthful and all of the good things that everybody really wants. You know, but people also want to feel good, and sometimes they're willing to trade a temporary rush for long-term happiness and health and wealth and satisfaction and contentment in life. They're willing to trade these little buzzes, these quick fixes, these rushes. So when we abstain from all of that, we naturally start to ascend spiritually. And when we start to ascend spiritually, we enter these new sort of like base camps, like on Everest, where there are new and even more difficult challenges that the less evolved version of us would not be able to deal with. But we're able to deal with these challenges now because we've taken the steps and we've practiced some discipline and we've cultivated some self-control along the way. So I'm making this video because the experience I'm having lately, you guys, is I'm about 9 months on retention now, and the last few months have been particularly potent for me. The first, I want to say 3 months, it was a lot of like withdrawal symptoms and like acclimating to the altitude and kind of high highs and low lows and getting the flat lines and getting the wet dreams. And it was like my body was just confused, it seemed like. But after, 3, 4, 5 months of being consistent with it, it was like my body sort of figured out, oh, okay, so this is this is the new normal now. We're going to start repurposing that energy that used to habitually come out of my what. We're going to start, it's like my body decides, okay, now we're going to start repurposing that energy and channeling it into different areas. And so now I have this wealth of energy. It's like the longer I go, it's like all of a sudden there's a bunch of money in my spiritual bank account that I now get to invest in different areas of my life, and then my life improves. So I've been doing that the last 3 months. It's like I built up all of this like spiritual wealth, the spiritual energy through cultivating this life force. And I've been applying that into areas that have been advancing my life. So I've been advancing myself financially. I've been advancing myself professionally. I've been finishing projects that I started that I was like procrastinating finishing. Putting music out, really, making connections with people, making connections with graphic designers and clothing designers. And I'm about to launch a clothing line. I'm about to release three, maybe 4 more full-length albums. I've got multiple different jobs right now, sources of income, and it keeps it's like I've got momentum going. And I've been so focused on getting all of this stuff done, and I've gotten to a point where I'm on sort of like cruise control with it, where I'm able to accomplish quite a bit without having to really think about it that much. It's just kind of become the norm now. But now that I'm at this new sort of altitude, spiritually, financially, emotionally, physically, all of it, it's like I've leveled up in every domain. All of a sudden now, the temptations are coming back. Temptations that I've been really free of for a while, and I thought maybe I would stay free of. I thought maybe I'd transcended certain things, and I'm coming to learn now that no, those things are still exerting some sort of like force of resistance on me. And the way I interpret it is, this is a form of spiritual attack, and it's also just a part of the nature of reality, right? It's just there is resistance in the physical world. There's resistance. You lift a heavy object, gravity resists your effort. You want to run fast. There is air resisting. When a plane flies, it has to be designed a certain way because the air resists its forward motion. So resistance is part of nature. So it's not like we can take an interpretation of this and think, well, God is a very punishing God for, why didn't he make it easier for us? Or why all these tests? Or why does he allow demons to mess with us? Or why does he allow evil, all these things? It's like, well, without those things, there'd be no meaning. There'd be no meaning in life. I mean, imagine, it's like I love to lift weights. I go to the gym. What I love about lifting weights is they're heavy and it's hard. And it makes me feel amazing when I walk out of the gym and I've lifted a bunch of heavy shit. If it wasn't so heavy, it'd be boring. It would be meaningless and I wouldn't grow from it and there'd be no point. So I look at like spiritual attacks, demonic interference, the reality of evil in that same context is like, it's just part of the nature of reality. It's not a mistake, and it imbues life with meaning and purpose, and it gives us something to do here. So I view these things as this necessary resistance that helps me grow. And it is a spiritual attack, and there are likely disembodied entities who are trying to reach me and influence me in various ways by getting me to engage in certain behaviors again. So it's funny that now it's like I'm on the precipice of reaching a whole new level in my life where the things that I have in the works right now could ultimately become my career path for the rest of my life. This could lead to all sorts of different business opportunities, and I could end up being somebody that's running several businesses, and my financial situation could change drastically. These are all things that are very possible and real for me right now. And there's like this spiritual force that exists that doesn't want me to get to that level. And I can't sit here and explain to you exactly how that works, exactly what that is. I feel this is my experience that I'm having. So now that I'm getting very, very close to this whole other like big giant up level, the temptations for sex women, I'm having all of a sudden, I'm craving the connection that I haven't had with a woman for so long, you know, and it's not even necessarily in a sexual way. It's like, it's more just like, I just want to like snuggle with a woman, you know. I want that connection again, and part of me also wants the sexual part too, but that's kind of not so much part of my operating system anymore. It's more about like intimacy that I crave. But it's like, I also understand my mind, you know, my ego has a way of tricking me sometimes. All of our minds have ways of kind of tricking us sometimes. That's why we have to be very self-aware, meditate, reflect, pray, you know, ask God for discernment, because a lot of times the stuff we think that makes so much sense in our heads might be our egos playing a trick on us, you know. So it's like, maybe my ego is trying to lead me into various opportunities with certain women, and it's saying things like, oh, but it's going to be wholesome and pure, and nothing, you know, sexual is going to happen. You got this, you know. But maybe I'm setting myself to end up in a situation where something like that happens and I fall for temptation, and the next thing I know, I'm in a relationship again, and I've got some soul ties formed, and now I'm dealing with that, and that is going to take energy away from me advancing my business and my career and my life, right? So these are just sort of open-ended questions in my mind. I'm just noticing, I'm like, well, I'm having this craving. Can I trust it? And it's not just the craving for like intimacy with women, but craving for drugs and alcohol. I'm just going to level with you guys. Like, I've been very free of that for a long time. You know, I've told you guys before, I struggled with a substance addiction a lot of my life, you know, and I've gotten sober for lengths of time, and then lost that, and then gone back and forth. And so part of being on retention, being on the straight and narrow path, includes a life of sobriety. And I haven't been struggling so much with that until very recently. And all of a sudden, for whatever reason, it just sounds kind of fun to go get like hammered. It sounds kind of fun to just get like super blitzed high. Or it sounds kind of fun to maybe like just take 10 hits of acid, see what happens, go to the wood, you know, the things like this. And I'm just being honest with you guys. That's what this channel is all about. It's just being real. That's why I called it ethereal, real. You know, Etherton is part of my last name. We get real here. That's why I chose that name. So I'm just being real with you guys. This is the stuff that goes through my head. And I view it as the adversary, the force of resistance in the spiritual realm, trying to lure me away from this next level, or trying to maybe weaken me so that if I get to this level, the temptation at that altitude is going to be too much for me to deal with, and I'm going to fall. That's how I'm viewing this. So I'm being I'm taking this very seriously, and I'm thinking like, okay, well, right now, the reason why I'm having all these cravings, these fleshly cravings, these temptations, is because God and the devil and the spirit realm, my ancestors and all of these forces, they understand that I'm on the verge of a major level up in life, right? And there are certain forces that are assisting me there, and there are certain forces that are resisting me there. And the more resistance I feel, the closer I know that I am to that next level up. So there you go. I hope you guys got something out of this. Like, so if you're feeling these cravings, these temptations, anytime you can not fall for that, you can get, you know, even if it's a day at a time, you say, I just got to get through today, you know, it's worth it. It's worth it, because those temptations are like tethers. They're trying to tether you to the world so that you don't ascend to the high levels that you're capable of ascending to. So if you're being tested, that means you're about to level up. Don't fall for it. Level up. Let's go. All right, peace.